Hello, people of YouTube. This is Gray's Guitars. I am Steve Gray. Thank you for watching. We are talking about the used guitar apocalypse again, or just the guitar market in general. It's nearing the end of 2025, November here, and let me tell you, it's not great, especially if you're trying to sell anything. If you even something like this is a Gibson SG Melody Maker. I've had this on Reverb for a while. I've had this on local marketplaces for a while. The most recent one of these sold for $825. I have mine for sale for $700 on Reverb, I think, and a little bit cheaper locally because I do make it a little bit more expensive on Reverb because of the fees. If you want to try to avoid those fees, maybe we can work something out and I can sell this thing to you for cheaper. If you're interested in it, I also have a Gibson Les Paul for sale. 2000 Gibson Les Paul. It's been played, they've both been played, but good condition, all the electronics work, everything sounds fantastic. I just don't play the thing. I'll be honest with you, I've gotten to a point where I have like 11, 12 guitars, and there are just several that I am not currently playing, and those two I don't currently play. So I'm looking to kind of either trade them for something different that I might play, or just get out of them for money. And doesn't seem like anything's happening with them. I see a lot of guitars just sitting, and I'm asking too much money for mine. Maybe my pictures aren't good. Maybe I should delete them for a little bit and then put them back up with better pictures. Here's a nice screenshot for you, something along those lines. That might be my thumbnail if I can find it in the video. But unless you're willing to give someone a decent deal, and kind of undercut all of your competition, because there are cheaper ones on Reverb. Both my Les Paul, I think my Les Paul I have around $2,000, and I said this one's around $700. This color, as I said, the most recent one sold for $825, and I'm asking $7, so I don't think it's that unreasonable. But people just want the cheapest price possible. And when you go to the sold listings and you see somebody just really wanted to get rid of it and sold one of these for $500, kind of hard to justify spending $700 on something that you think you can get for $500. So that's why I'm kind of more in the trade sense right now. But my local guy doesn't want anything. Even though he's like, yeah, no, Gibson's a great brand, but he's got too much stuff. He said he hasn't been selling a whole lot of guitars lately. People are still buying guitars. I don't think they're buying them as in volume as much as they did during COVID. People are still buying them. Even the vintage market has took a little bit of a hit, which I never thought the vintage market would take a hit. I don't keep up with it because I'm not the person spending $20,000, $30,000 on a guitar. I might spend, if I find something I really, really like and really, really want, I might spend up to like $3,000 on a guitar. You're talking like used Gibson Les Paul custom that wasn't made in the custom shop, older Les Paul customs, or new Gibson Les Paul standards. That's kind of where I am price point wise. And if I spend that kind of money on a guitar, I will not be buying a guitar for 6 months to a year after that fact too. But this is just a cool, as I said, cool guitar. Same with a Les Paul, cool guitar. Play and sound great, but I have other stuff that does the same thing. I have another SG. It's a 2014 with the 120th anniversary stamp on it. I play that one more than I play this one. And then I have a Gibson Les Paul Studio with an ebony fretboard, and I play that more often too than I play the Les Paul Standard. The Les Paul Standard, I try to keep them decent in a case, out of the sun, temperature controlled, all of that. What happened prior to me owning these guitars, I wouldn't be able to tell you, but it's just a soft market for sellers right now. I said if you're a buyer, definitely wait around, look around. You can find yourself a deal. Especially the PRS SEs, I feel like they're really taking a hit. You can get a really good deal on one of those right now. Doesn't seem like anybody wants one at the moment. Those come in waves. It also, depends on color, shape, size, all that stuff. But it's just everything's taking a hit right now. The market has significantly cooled off. As the holiday season approaches, maybe it'll pick up a little bit. But I think we're just kind of trickling out into kind of almost nothingness right now. There hasn't been really any cool guitar songs, not like a mainstream cool guitar song in the past couple of years. maybe Pink Pony Club, Chappelle Ronan, if I'm saying her name right. There's that cool little guitar lick in there. But people just, especially on the higher end, people aren't buying as many of them. The mid tier seems like it's doing good, but yet again, unless you're giving somebody a deal on it, like that bass back there, the jazz bass I have back there, I got that for $300 when they were asking $600. And in retrospect, it needed brand new strings, it needed to clean up, it needed electronic clean, it needed a setup, all the typical things when you buy a used instrument that nobody's touched in 20 years, because that's from like the early 2000s or something. But came with a hard shell case too. I wasn't expecting them to say yes to that. I just threw out a number. Low balls don't offend me. For any sellers out there, you get like super angry. You're asking like $1,000 for something, and someone offers you $500. Don't get angry, because who cares? Ultimately, the buyer wants it as cheap as they can get, and the seller wants to get as much money as they can get. That's how it's always been. That's how it's always going to be with the buy-sell situation. If you're trading, you might have a couple $100 leeway, plus or minus, depending on the guitar. There was a couple of nice guitars I've been offered for this, but I'm really not a tremolo guy, a Floyd guy. I don't even really care for the tremolo on that Squier Stratocaster. I never use it, but I just needed some place to put the arm that I did finally buy for it after years of never having an arm for it, and I'm still debating about blocking it off. But I got offered a nice Schecter for this. That was pretty, I think it was made in Korea. Where it's made isn't really important to me as much as the price point. As long as you're, for when I'm trading an instrument, as long as you're like plus or minus $100, I'm usually fine with it if I really like it. But if it's got a Floyd Rose or tremolo on it, I significantly like it a lot less, and really probably aren't going to do it unless it's some very crazy rare thing that I don't think I'd ever find again. But yeah, that's kind of where the market is. People are buying stuff, but unless you're giving them a decent deal on it, they aren't going to buy it. It's just going to sit. I've had these two guitars. They've been sitting now for over 6 months. As I said, I might take them down, take some new pictures or something, post them back up, see if it makes a difference. Price point, I don't really want to budge on them. I'm lucky where at the moment, I'm in a position where I don't need that money. I don't need the money for this guitar. I don't need the money for the Les Paul. If I sell them, if I sell them, great. If I trade them for something I like, I actually want to keep and play, also great. But if you're in a hurry to get rid of something, then you got people that are selling them for significantly cheaper, and you can get a used Les Paul standard. I think I'm asking around $2,000. If you wait, you can find one for $1,500-$1,600. But I'm not willing to take that for it. Being that I paid more than that for it, so I know what it's it's kind of like as I said, you use Reverb to kind of get a general idea, and sold prices on eBay too. And sometimes Marketplace, you can search by sold prices just to kind of get a general ballpark. And same with this. Realistically, I might take $600 for this, but that's the lowest I'm going to go. I've had a couple people offer me $500, and I just was like, no, I don't want to go that low. I honestly don't remember if I traded for this or I paid for what I paid for it. But it's been a while. I've had this guitar for a very long time, over 5 years now. And when I have something for 5+ years, sometimes what I paid for it kind of goes to the wind. I don't always 100% remember what I got it for unless there was a cool story behind it. But I think what's going to happen is just the market's going to continue to be oversaturated. The new guitar market, I don't think it's that great right now. I mean, at the high end, if you got a good chunk of money and you're buying stuff brand new. But new guitars, I just don't buy them because you lose. And to me, a person that's going through them all the time, as a hobby, buy, sell, trade, collect, whatever you want to call it, I can never justify the price of a new guitar. It'd have to be something like I super really, really wanted. I'm debating about starting to save up now because I know it's going to be expensive. 2029, so 4 years from now. Almost 3 because 2026 is upon us. It's going to be, I think, like the 70th anniversary. I believe 2019 was the 60th anniversary of the R9. So the 70th anniversary would be 2029. And every time there's like a 10-year one, they kind of go all out and do a bunch of fancy specs. And I have been thinking about purchasing an R9 at some point in the future. So If I start saving up now, I should have enough money for it 4 years later. So that's kind of where my mind is at, anyway. But yeah, that's that. As I said, unfortunately, that's just kind of where we're at. Unless you're willing to give a deal to somebody, you're not going to sell it. You're going to be sitting. Delete stuff if you need to. You got Craigslist, which a lot of people use anymore. It's used, Facebook Marketplace, Reverb, eBay. You can try. I actually haven't tried posting guitar on eBay ever, because I kind of like Reverb's policies better. I think you still get a little bit better deal on Reverb, but it might be the same now. It's been a while since I've checked what percent they take from you. That's why I do prefer to sell local, because then a percentage is not getting taken out of the price, and I can also sell it cheaper too, because a percentage is not coming out of the price, and also I don't have to deal with shipping. I've only shipped one guitar so far in my life, and it got there in one piece. I packaged it well enough. They complained about it. I got a crappy review, unfortunately. But the whole thing was literally bubble wrapped, and there wasn't a case or anything, so I was trying to be extra careful and making sure there was no room in the box for the guitar to move. So I did kind of cram a bunch of cardboard and other soft things in there just to prevent the guitar from moving inside the box. The Thunderbird is a very weird shaped guitar. Not weird, it's cool looking, but in terms of putting it in a case and putting it in a box, it sits very awkward because of how the end of it is. An Explorer would probably be the same thing, but that's where we're at. Is just, as I said, if you're a buyer right now, you can find a deal. Wait, you'll find something. Don't be afraid to message somebody and be like, hey, they're asking $1,000. As I said, half the price. Say, hey, will you take $500? There's going to be a couple of different responses to that, because as I said, I have done the whole, they call it lowballing, and it's happened to me. When it happens to me, I either counter offer with I'll take $20 off the price or something, just for starters, and see if they come up at all, or I'll just ignore it. That's another option. I did used to get angry. I don't care anymore at this point, because it doesn't take up that much of your day. You take 2 seconds to respond and you move on. And then if you lowball somebody, say they're asking $1,000 for something like this, and you say 500, they're gonna either say go F yourself. They're going to do what I do and come back with a counter offer of probably a lot higher than $500, or they're just going to ignore your message. It's going to be one of the three. And then you're done with it, as I said, that bass, I had to do some work on. I was surprised they took the price, and I just threw it out there, and it was like, yeah, I figured that doesn't hurt. She's like, oh, I'm not taking that low for it. I was like, yeah, no, I figured it just wouldn't hurt to ask. And then I was like, well, you don't know exactly. You don't know if you don't try. Ultimately, that's where I'm kind of going with that. You don't know if you don't try. If you never ask, then maybe that one person has been sitting on it for a year or 2 years. It's on Facebook Marketplace. No one's touched it. They don't realize that they have it way higher than it should be going. Right now, I would say that bass that I got for $300, I would say it's worth at least $400, maybe $5 with the case. I think if I put it for $400, it would go like that. If I put it for $500, it'd sit a while, but I think someone might eventually take it. But I don't know. As I said, I can get a used Mexican Fender or whatever right now for $300 if I wait. If I'm patient, doesn't matter if it's a jazz bass, a P bass, Telecaster, Stratocaster. If I'm patient enough locally, I can find one for $300. So no, I'm not going to pay $1,000 for a brand new one when I can get a used one for $700 less. That's just where we're at. So thank you for watching. I don't know if this was 10 minutes or not. It's probably over because I like to talk too much. But subscribe, turn on the notification bell, leave a like, share, all that. Comment down below what you want to see for future music-related content. And as always, have a good one.